Actually makes a great dry erase board eraser. Yeah, part 2 is kind of going to be, whatever. I'm going to do them both today. I'm getting ready to go on vacation, and I got work. I'm just doing them both today while I have this downtime in between jobs. Look at that. Man, Shop Town makes a great dry eraser race board for their board. Look at that. Perfect. So, angle staircases. Ugh. Angle staircase handrails. We're still going to do just one rail for now. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to imagine that there's already a barrier there. Alright? We're just going to imagine there's a barrier. We can get into codes where you need a barrier and all that stuff. Or fencing, grading, pickets. We can get in all that another time. We're going to keep it simple because really figuring out the pickets ain't hard. We're going to go over the hard stuff. So, let's draw a staircase. So let's use green. And green is our ground, which is actually a staircase. Staircase. Alright, hope everybody can see that. We need a railing for this staircase. Now, remember, on our flat rail, what we want is it to be 36 inches above our ground. How do we figure that measurement out here? Well, use the toe of each staircase. So from the toe, whoop, that's the wrong color. Let's use a different color for our graphical depictions. Let's use blue. There we go. I like different colors. I want this board to be colorful. So, here we go. And there we go. We want above each of these to be 36 inches. So, there you go. Alright. So you measure right off the toe of each stair. Now let's draw in our piece of square tube. Alright. Now, depending on how they want it set up. The house I recently did, they got mad at me because the rail went down to the second story and landed here, or down to the basement level and landed here. See, this would be ground, right? I mean, this is ground right here, and this is ground right there. They got mad at me because I ran the rail to here and then dropped to the ground. They got mad at me for that, so we'll go over both variations and how they work. So, we have the staircase. We need to know the angle of the staircase, right? There's this really cool tool that my instructor showed me while I was in school. I'll go get it real quick. Dun dun. This doohickey. This thing's great. Alright? So, I'm going out to quote this job. I always have a piece of like angle or square tube sitting in the back of the truck or whatever. So I will set that piece of angle or square tube on the staircase. And then I'll slap this on there. Hey, look at magnets to it. That is one jacked up staircase. It's about 48 degrees. That's a steep staircase. Be realistic, most staircases are around 36 or something. 36, 37 degrees. 37 was my last staircase. So we're going to pretend it says 37 degrees here. So, go our, let me see how I can draw this out. There we go. 37 degrees. That's our staircase angle from that to there. right? That staircase angle. We have to be very specific about our staircase angle versus our post angle, right? So what is our angle? We would cut this to meet the post. Now I do these differently than I do my flat rail, and I'll show you why here in a second. Now, our post up here, I drew right through my 36. Now, we actually do, so I wish I had a little fine marker. Oh, there we go. Is we cut that angle right there. Cut this, boop, like that, so it fits onto it like so. Same with down here. So how do we figure out that angle? It's easy. Take this number right here, 37 plus 90, because what is our angle from here down off the post? 90 degrees. So 37 plus 90 is simple. Take 37, take away 2. Oh, take 37. No, take away 2. Take 37 minus 10. You get 27. Add 100. Wait a minute. 127 degrees. So if you set your chop saw 127 degrees and cut that tube right there at the length. Now remember, when you're cutting your length like this, you are measuring on your tube off of what I call the long end, right? So when you cut a piece of tube, you're going to have, I'm really running out of space. Cutting a piece of tube like this, no matter how you cut it, you're going to have what's called the long end and the short end on each one. Or what I call the long end and the short end on each one. Some fabricator's going to correct me and just beat me down for this, but this is how I do it. All right? On this right here, you can see, imagine these are two pieces of mitered square tube. I call the long ends. Down's supposed to be beveled like that. Down's supposed to be beveled like this, if you can tell. But those are long ends. Now when I'm doing like a box, all my tube is measured off of the long end, right? So I'm measuring the outside diameter of my box. Now with this, you're measuring off of the long ends. So if I'm getting my top measurement here, we can say this whole staircase is, say, 5 feet. I don't know why 5 feet keeps coming to mind. I mean, it's a short staircase, but anyway, 5 feet right here. All right, so I'm going to, when I make this miter cut here, I'm going to draw my tape from here. Imagine this ain't cut yet. From here to there, and mark it, then do my bevel back. And that end, the long end, is the end I draw my cut on to the inside towards the short side. And then the same on the other side. You can literally flip this piece of tube over and do it the same way. You draw your measurement off of the long end to the short end. Now this piece is cut. And then 5 feet. Now when you set it like this, it fits in there 5 feet, just like that. Alright? Now, we get to the bottom of the staircase here. Now, depending on how they want it to be set up, depending on how they want it to look, it all depends on how they want it to look. I don't necessarily like this setup, but this is how some people want it. Is right at the end of that bottom stair, it just goes zoop. Oh, gotta put not too. There, not to scale. And some people want it like that, and that is irritating as hell. Okay? That is absolutely irritating as hell. Because I just don't like it. I don't think it looks right. But this is what some people want. They want it to be right within that staircase area and nowhere else. So your final measurement for your height is right here. You can't use this because this is way out of code, if you will. Right? It'll be about 6 inches out of code. Each of these are going to be about 6.5, 7 inches just spaced right here. So now you have to take 36 inches, which is what our post would be, right? So we want the right height with a base plate and, yeah, base plate, 36-inch post, base plate, 6 plus 36, that's a 42-inch piece of tube. So now that piece of tube is 42 inches. And, you know, somebody's going to be correcting my math. Somewhere I'm going to screw up my math because I'm kind of doing this all off the top of my head. But, and that's how I put my handrails together. It actually works quite well. But, you know, you got to draw your plans out. I'm going to say one thing you have to do with your handrails, draw them out. You got to sit down and get a piece of paper and draw them out because you cannot keep it all in your head. It's a lot of numbers to keep track of. Get a piece of paper, scribble it down. And that also lets you build your cut sheet. All right? Remember the cut sheet from the last time. Now, that's 42 inches. But that makes it 36 right there. Right? I know, it's frustrating. I don't like to build my handrails like that. But for whatever reason, people want the modern look. So that's how they want it to look now. So, and it also depends on the inspector. Some inspectors are like, yeah, it's okay, whatever. Other inspectors are like, no, it's on 36 at the bottom. Gotta do it again. So, you know, I told them, if I do it that way, it's on you. You gotta pay for me to come back and fix it. Your inspector goes, yeah, whatever, that's cool. Great. If the inspector don't like it, you're paying for me to come back. How I normally do my rails. Is I imagine there's a tread right here, right? So our base plate here up to 36. Run this down to it, right? That's how I like to run it. I just measure out whatever the step is out. And I did that on my last job, and they had a conniption over this right here. They did not like that at all. They just were like, oh, I was like, that's how it's supposed to be. Like, oh, no, we don't want that. We want it to be at the bottom of that stair. It cannot stick out at all. Like, all right, you know, whatever. Because now it's 36. Now it's at a lower spot for you to grab right there, and it's just easier. It looks, to me, in my mind, it looks better. You know, 6 of one, half dozen the other, I guess, you know. Like I told them, if the inspector don't like it, it's on you. You got to pay for me to come back and redo it like I had it. So you gotta know your code so you can defend yourself against silliness like that. All right. Let me think if I missed anything here. You know, it's a basic staircase right there. And once you install it, and you can do all this, and sometimes you go through and measure, and you're like, what on earth? So once you get it installed and in place and level, you go through and go off of each toe, and it should be roughly, if you did it right, roughly 36. I do not fret, like if this is 36 here, this is 35, and 35, and this is 35, right? This has happened before, and I don't fret it because it's not worth fighting over, and that's 36. Right, this happens because your angle might be just a year off, right? If you get that measurement, you're still within code, and if you look at it and you can't see anything, it's hard to tell when it's that far off of the stairs if it's off at all. So don't worry about it. That's honestly how I am about it, because you could sit there and cut it, add piece, blah, 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 blah. But remember, if you add a piece here, You have to, like, if you add a spacer in here, let's say for whatever reason it's too short here. Say it's like 33 over here. We're gonna imagine this is reading 33 right here, right? Let's say, you know, it's 35 here, 34, and 33. Uh-oh. Wait a minute, that's not code anymore. Your angle's wrong. One of these posts is either too tall or too short somewhere. So, in this particular situation, that would be indicating 35, 34, 33. This is not exactly how it works in the, you know, these are not exact numbers. I'm just throwing something out there for you. You know, trying to throw a wrench in the works for some troubleshooting. This post, as the numbers decline, the numbers will decline to the post that's too short. So if you're 36 here, 35, 34, 33, your top post is too short, right? If it's the other way around, your bottom post is too short. All right, now this is where it gets tricky, and this is where people easily screw up, and I've screwed up here before. I go, oh, duh, I just add an inch right here. Add in an inch right there, becomes 37 inches. It's still within code. Oh yeah, cut the base plate off, slap a piece there, weld it, put it back on, good, right? No, because now these pieces are no longer sitting at 90 degrees to the ground. They're no longer level because you added this bar pushes this one over, and you'll never get it straight. So, two ways to do this, right? The way I normally do it is cut the post here, cut the rail and post off there, cut the rail off the post there, pull the rail off, clean up the rail, add 1 inch right there to it, weld it, put the post back in, then take this, and there'll be a little bit of a gap. It's nothing you can't fill, right? I always use MIG or flux core in the field, so when I'm doing handrails, because, you know, why not, right? I mean, it's a handrail. It's easy to fix this kind of stuff with that, because you're going to run into this once or twice. If you don't run into this, you ain't done enough handrails. So, now, ensure these two are level and 90 degrees to the ground. You can have one person hold it up here and hold it right there. Tack, 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 right there. Bring it up here, tack, tack, tack. And as long as these two pieces are still 90 degrees, now you've added 1 inch, it's 37. That should have fixed that right there. But ideally, if you do it right and your spacing from here is even as to up there, you should not have to worry about it doing that right there, because it could be 35 inches up there, and that's what caused it to do that, have that slight thing, right? But like I said, if it's still within code, and from here to there is 1 inch. Now from here to there was 4 inches, you have a problem, right? So from here to there's only a half inch to an inch discrepancy or something like that. Don't worry about it. You will chase yourself around all day trying to figure it out. And the fact of the matter is, you'll never know it. And if you sit there and you measure other handrails that have been put in, you will be so surprised at how bad off they actually are, because they're so far off the stairs you don't actually see. You can't see that much of a difference. You'd be surprised how bad off some handrails are. All right, so you know what? If you want to spend the time stressing it, do it. Me? I'm not gonna stress a half-inch discrepancy. I will call it good enough as long as it's within code, and it's generally half-inch. Okay, I guess if it's an inch, I might be a little worried and look around to see, because you'll find some strange stuff. But there's our angled staircase right there. Now, if you do not have one of these magnetic protractor angle locators, you need one. You cannot do handrails without this thing. It's plain and simple. You will not do handrails without this. Now, I don't even carry a big level. One of the things I don't carry a big long level. I carry a torpedo level on my truck, because the fact is, steel People get, big long levels, yay long like this for doing, big old pieces of wood. Well, steel is way straighter. It's generally straighter. You don't need a big level for doing steel. A little torpedo level will totally do a 10-foot. If you take a piece of square tube, inch and a half, 14 gauge at 10 feet, and you slap a level on it, unless that piece has been through a bad accident, it should be generally straight. Alright? So you don't need a big long ass level like this. You see these guys, they open the box and they got like 500 levels. You don't need that. A little torpedo level will do all of this just fine. Alright? So don't worry about a big level. You want this, a torpedo level, a combo square, and or a framing square. Or a speed square. I love speed squares. But combo square comes in handy too. I like to keep both around. Alright? So, that is staircases with derb. Right? So I hope I didn't miss anything. I tried to go over everything that I could remember. I think I got everything. I'm going to take a second to think here. Oh, the other thing. Mounting. Right? It's just like the other staircase. The flat, it's just like mounting. It's just like that. I mean, base plates or sinking it into the ground or whatever wild other idea they got for putting it in the ground. Either one of those is just fine. All right. So that is handrail staircases with derb. If I missed anything, please leave a comment below. Let me know. And we'll go over it in the next session of staircases with derb. That's probably not what I'm going to call this, but I'm going to call it staircases with derb for now. Alright?